Hey movie buffers, Movie Buff 29 coming at you with another video. So I finally watched it, the Hocus Pocus 2 movie, which streamed on Disney Plus yesterday at midnight, and I gotta say, I really like this movie. It was such a great continuation, even though we had to wait almost 30 years, but I really did like it. There were some parts that were kind of but I would give it an 8 out of 10 just because, I like the plot line. They did so well with that. The songs that they had the sisters sing, more spells, and then we finally, we finally got to see their backstory when they were kids, how they, dabbled in witchcraft. Because if you watch the beginning of the movie, we see 16-year-old Winifred Sanderson and the sisters as little girls, or I guess I don't know, teenagers or little girls. But we see how they were banished from Salem because Winifred didn't want to marry the son. Was it the Reverend or someone in that, I guess, genre? But and then she pretty much, I guess they said that she sinned against God, defiled him, things like that, and they said that she has one last chance. Winifred, when she makes up her mind, there's no use changing her opinion. So she said no, and then they kicked her. They were kicking her out, and they were taking her sisters, Mary and Sarah, to live with other people and to become normal, and that didn't set well with Winifred or Winnie. So they ran into the Forbidden Forest, and then the witch that came to them gave them book, which was the Winifred spell book from the first movie, the one that she says book. I can't do it. So, but it was a really cool way to kind of tie the first and second movie together, because now we know their backstory, and I feel like that really helped with this plot and this movie, just because when the first movie came out in 1993, I was like wondering, like, how did they become? Were they born witches? They mentioned their mom, but if you watch the second movie, we didn't really see a mother and father in their lives. It was just pretty much them. I don't know, living together in the house. I don't know if their parents were away or doing something, but we really didn't see them call mom, dad, things like that. But I think that the mother was actually the witch they met in the forest that gave them the spell book, because I feel like, because I remember, if you remember in the first movie, they were saying that the mother was a witch, and they said about mom scorpion pie and things like that. So I feel like maybe that was the one that they call mother, because I feel like their mother and father that gave birth to them were, I guess, mortal. And they said that, they said that, witches come to their power on their 16th birthday, and it was Winifred's birthday, 16th birthday that day. So that's probably why the magic started. But I don't know, if you know of that or have any other opinions, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, so like I said, I really like the movie. I really like the new characters in this. Set place in modern day Salem in 2022. And we see new characters, Becca, Izzy, and I forgot the other one. I'll put it down here, but those, we see them at school, and it looks like they were friends growing up, but they kind of had a falling out because the girl Grace was dating this boy, I forgot, Mike, and I guess Becca and Izzy didn't like him, and they felt like she was pulling away from them because she was hanging out with the popular kids, because Mike was on the football team, and so she started to change, dress different, and so Izzy and Bella probably just thought that she didn't need them anymore. And that was, that's kind of sad when that happens. But high school is such a hard time in everyone's life, but coming with friends and things like that. But yeah, but it looks like it was also it was Halloween, but it was also Becca's birthday, her 16th birthday, and and then they found out that she their ex friend or acquaintance I need to know her name, but like I said, I'll put the name down there once I say the name, so that way you'll know who I'm talking about. But they found out that she was having a party, so she went join them because a lot of their tradition is they go and do rituals for fun. And she when they found out that she was having the party, they didn't really feel like she wanted to be a part of their group anymore. So they had going on there. But it looks like they like having fun with Mike because they like to prank him. They were pretending to say spells, but it was like healthy food names or something like that. And it was kind of it was always kind of a funny scene to do that. But I really like the new characters. It was really cool seeing Billy Butcherson. If you remember him, he was the one that was the zombie that Winifred woke up to get Max, Allison, and Max and Thackeray, to do her bidding and all that. And we found out that he was Winifred's lover who cheated on her with Sarah, her sister, and then she ended up, unaliving him, sewing his mouth shut so that we can tell secrets in death, according to what said Thackeray being said in the first movie. But then we find out, and also I'll put a spoiler. I put a spoiler alert, so hopefully, but it was they found out that he only had one kiss with Winifred, and she actually said that too in the beginning of the movie where they shared a kiss in the cemetery. But it turns out that he was actually Sarah's boyfriend. So that was really cool for them to clear it up and all that. Turns out he was still that Billy was still alive because you remember they woke him up, but after the sisters were vanquished, he didn't have that eternal sleep. We saw him like yawning and falling down to the grave, but he's been there ever since, waiting for someone to, just trying to find a way to, sleep peacefully and rest eternally. So he's been awake for 29 years. I can't imagine what that's like, just laying in your grave for 29 years. Hopefully, if someone will get you out or things like that. I don't know if he probably enjoyed it because 29 years, he doesn't have to really eat, he doesn't have to go to the bathroom. So he pretty much just gets to sleep and just lay there in the dirt. But probably not something that I want to do if I was unalive and someone dug me, like someone resurrected me and didn't put me back. I probably would have been antsy, but yeah. So and then it was really cool seeing their cottage from the first movie. It looks like it was turned into a museum / gift shop, and then Gilbert, who is I guess the owner of the gift shop and things like that, he likes to tell the story of the Sanderson sisters. To younger generations and older generations and those who witness it. And then we found out that he actually saw the Sanderson sisters back in 1993 when he was a little boy. So he followed them. He saw them flying in the air, and then he saw them getting vanquished at the cemetery. And we see Billy. We see the silhouette of Allison and Max and Danny. We didn't really see Max and Danny, but we know that scene, when the witches were vanquished and they were saying bye, and then Winifred was statue and she blew up. So, it was really, like I said, I really liked how they tied both movies into each other. And what I also really liked about this is that Winifred understood the meaning of having a coven / her sisters, because they've been through everything together on ground, underneath the ground. It was really cool seeing the soft side of Winnie, because so the major plot line is that they were resurrected, but they didn't really want to do the potion, even though Becca and Izzy tricked them into going to the Walgreens and to just eat the potion, the lotions, things like that, because they said that it was pretty much pre-made with children, and they tried that and then they found out it wasn't, and then they got mad. But it wasn't really going to be about that. It was when they went back to their cottage and trapped Becca and Izzy down in the dungeon, and they did a binding contract with Gilbert. They were going to do the Magica Maxima spell, which makes them all powerful, but it does come at a price. If you remember the first scene, or when they went into the forest, the witch that gave them the book, she said that do not use that spell. So Winifred made a promise to Book to not do that spell. But she said she was going to do it because she didn't want to. They don't want to go under the ground, and so. But yeah, so so the whole movie, the rest of the movie, Gilbert. They had Gilbert get all the ingredients and dig up Billy Butcherson because he needed the head of a lover, and technically he was a lover of one of the sisters. So he kind of tricked Billy into that, and Billy found out and things like that. But yeah, so and then when they like it, but it was interesting though because I never, we never really knew much of them in the first movie. We knew that they were witches. They, destroyed Emily Binks. They sent Thackeray to be a cat for up to 300 years before, his spirit moved on. But like I said, we never really knew much about the sisters. But like I said, this really was a really good way to kind of do a backstory for the Sanderson sisters. And Becca, who also had a 16th birthday that day, found out that she was a witch. And because her hands started glowing, she started doing magic. In the dungeon, they escape because they use angelica leaves, which helps breaks curses. And so she, when they were waving their hands, she saw blue light coming out of her hands, and then all of a sudden the stairs appear. So we had a hint that that's Becca was becoming a witch or had her powers, and it happened on her 16th birthday, like Winifred. But she was more careful, and she didn't acknowledge it. She was just like, oh, it was probably nothing. But yeah, so like I said, I loved it. I really think that it could lead to more possibilities. But if you remember at the end of that movie, like I said, spoiler alert. So when they did the Magica spell, Winifred and her sisters, it worked. They were more powerful, but it was really cool seeing Sarah and Mary have powers because they really didn't have powers. Sarah's talent was to lure the children. She's saying that, "Come, little children, come take me away," and Mary was just pretty much the one who could smell children. So they really didn't have any powers like we saw Winnie have, but it was really cool seeing them, use magic and things like that. But after they did the Magica spell 7 times, and it worked, they became powerful. And then when the candle went out, they didn't vanish, they didn't blow up. But Becca told them that, or told Winnie, because Sarah and Mary, pretty much vanish because it takes something that holds dear to the person. In case Winnie, so that means her sisters were the most important thing to her, and she started to realize that without them, witches is nothing without her coven. And Winifred and Winnie and Mary and Sarah have been through thick and thin together. So without them, she felt like she's nothing, and she begged the girls to help her and Book too. And it was really cool that they helped her. Becca said a spell that didn't bring them back, but sent money to them in the hereafter, under the ground, back to where they were. But yeah, it was. But yeah, and then she disappeared. I feel like they could do another movie, but it should be about different witches, because if you remember. In the post-credit scene of this movie, we saw the cat Cobweb on a shelf, and then there was a box that says BF2, which means Black Flame Candle. That means there's another way for them to be resurrected again, but we feel like they just vanished and not coming back. So I don't know, maybe they're going to hint that maybe there's a new trio of witches or things like that. I was watching some red carpet interviews, and I think they talked to the producer, screenwriter, director, or whoever, and they mentioned that there could be a possibility that there's another movie coming. If there is, hopefully we don't have to wait over almost 3 decades. But you never know; it could lead to more possibilities. Maybe it could be, maybe Becca could turn evil, and then her coven could turn evil too. But you never know. So, like I said, I feel like the Sanderson sisters, Bette Midler, Kathleen and Jamie, Sarah Jessica Parker will come back. But to each his own. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, and I'm gonna react to my favorite scene in this movie, and this is like my all-time favorite, just because it was really cool seeing those three together again. So here we go. Alright, so the scene I'm going to be reacting to is the One Way or Another scene from the middle of the movie, where the Sanderson sisters entered a look-alike contest, and then they found out that they lost to 3 girls who they ran into at the Walgreens earlier in the movie, and they took a picture with them because they said that they loved them, things like that. So they were trying to find the mayor, because the mayor is a descendant from Reverend Trask, who pretty much banished them, and they got revenge on them when they were kids. So they were up there trying to find him. So they pretty much hypnotized and spelled all the people that were there, and you could see them that they're flakes in a trance. So I'm going to react to that. So here we go. One Way or Another.
1, 2, 3, 4. One way or another, I'm gonna find ya. I'm gonna get ya. One way or another, I'm gonna win ya. I'm gonna get ya. One way or another, I'm gonna see ya. I'm gonna meet ya one day. Maybe real soon, I'm gonna meet ya. I'll meet ya.
Bette Midler just sound amazing. After 30 years of hearing her sing again, she really does have a great voice, and you can tell that she loved playing Winifred, just as Sarah Michelle Gellar liked playing Sarah, and Kathleen and Jamie liked to play Mary. So I loved it. Oh my gosh, hearing the spell that they use when they sing "I Put a Spell on You," and just putting the spell on the people. That was such a creative idea, using different songs and kind of do parodies of it. But I love those three. They could. I wish this movie came out sooner. But the magic is still there, the entertainment. Those three love working together. You could tell that they really have a great chemistry, working with each other. So.
We think taking Gilbert's trolley was a good idea. It's the fastest way to get there, okay?
It better all be clean by the time I get back, young lady. I love you.
I'll say give you pie. I'll say maybe after night.
Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Just them doing that dance all the way down the street. That must have taken a lot of rehearsal time, but that looks so amazing. This was like my all-time favorite scene from this movie. Just this scene right here.
wretched villagers, useless even when bewitched. Fan out! Find him! Find him! Find the bear!
That was my favorite scene. I wanted to react to that. There's a lot of scenes I could react to. I did some reactions from the Walgreens scene and then the 40 scene from the beginning of the movie. So if you want to look at that, look at my reactions to that, look at my previous videos. But yeah. So what do you guys think? Did you like this movie? What was your favorite part? And then let me know your favorite scene too, if you have one. If not, just let me know if you like this movie. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. This is Movie by 29 signing out. See ya.